Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I am Stephanie Joy with All Things Social Security and the attorney at Joy Disability. You're about to see what should be a question and answer format type of chat from our live session on a particular topic that we find that a lot of people keep asking about. So I'm sharing it here. If there are pieces that could have been added that weren't added during the live, because it's a kind of a fast-paced Q&A that we do every Wednesday at 1 p.m. You might just find that I added something to the end of it to give it a little more clarity and a little more details for those that are interested in that particular topic. So check to see if that's at the end. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Bye-bye. Okay, we've got some interesting emphasis on these letters. I wonder what country that's from. But I'm going to say Datatka, Data. How about that? Can I call you that? I'm curious what language that is. Very interesting. Says, I am the rep payee for my brother who is an SSI beneficiary. He needs a new cell phone and service. Should he get the new phone and service under his name, then I will pay the bill or my name. I don't know that it matters because you can provide him, you could even pay for it. I mean, you could just gift it to him. It's not one of those bills that counts. Like a utility. It's not a utility bill. Interestingly enough, it's not like heat, garbage, water. So I think you could do it either way. I mean, you're going to be the one paying it, right? From his monies regardless. So, it's cleaner if it's under his name, I guess. I can't think of a different reason why there could be a problem having it in his name, nor do I think I could see a problem if it was under your name, if that's the way you prefer it. Sometimes it might be, you're thinking easier if I have him on my plan and blah, blah. So I don't know that it matters. You're just going to always, as always, document, X amount each month that you spend on for him. So Christmas is right around the corner, and some people are asking, what can I get my loved one who was on SSI? And they're concerned because they understand that income to which the SSI loved one is held accountable for with regard to offsets with SSI are not necessarily just cash gifts or cash gifts that are a form of income. Because remember, income is not necessarily from work. We get income in all sorts of ways: investment income, working income. Grandpa gives us a nice fat check, income. A plethora of ways. So, there are things you can do for a loved one on SSI that is gifting to them, but is not countable for SSI purposes. So, some ideas are, like, you never want to give cash to speak of. And I know they have some little minor exceptions when they're small and not regular. So you can look into that. And you never want to pay their mortgage or their rent or the food, because technically those are the three areas that SSI is supposed to cover. However, and when I say rent or mortgage, I should say that that's shelter, and that also includes heat, electric, water, garbage. Oh, does it include garbage? Maybe not. Yeah, it might. Don't hold me to that one. So you can't just go and pay these directly either. But there are things you can do to pay them, to give them something. If they need a cell phone, you can buy them a cell phone, not 50, so they can go sell 49. You can pay their cell phone bill, the service charge. Do not give them the cash in which to do it. You have to pay it directly. So you write the check from your account. This is permissible. It's not where an SSI person has to be living in misery. People can do nice things for them. They just can't do the things that the SSI covers, or else the SSI will be reduced because that portion is no longer needed. The closest example to this I could think of is when someone is putting a roof over someone else's head. They're living with you. They're not being charged rent, even if they can't pay it, but you're not even loaning them the shelter. You're giving it to them because you're a loved one. That would be probably impermissible. It's actually better to charge them rent. At least the money's coming to you to help you pay the overhead, and their SSI is not getting cut down. So it's gonna come from someplace, right? Yeah, like a cell phone bill. If they have a TV that just went kerplunk, you could get them a new TV. They are allowed to have a car, generally, if they need it to get to doctor appointments and such. So one car in their name is fine, not two. Gasoline for the car to fill their tank. Possibly pay their car insurance, right? Let's see, other things. You can take them on vacation. You could do lots of nice things. You can buy them personal gifts. It just can't be the kind of gift like a piece of real estate they don't live on, little investment. That's considered something that they could sell to support themselves. Because remember, SSI means everyone else is supporting that person. They're not supporting themselves, right? It is a welfare program. So you have to be savvy. And there's links on the SSA website as to what kind of resources they can have that is not counted. So you might want to take a look at that. I'm trying to think what else. What else do people want? You could buy them candy, I think, on Christmas, Take them to a show. Take them to a cultural event. Take them, various things. Movie rentals. The gift that keeps on giving all year long. A lot of things you can do to make their life more pleasant without interfering with their benefits. So Christmas, I thought, was a good time to bring it up because, don't be sending them a check that they deposit in the bank account. No, right? Give them something that they're, allowed to receive, that it's not going to be considered, a resource when they keep it, or income. All right. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. We got a couple weeks yet, but I'm just trying to get down the last of my imagination for gift giving. And it's hard when it's hard for the teenagers and everybody. It's just so hard to, figure out what to get people. So anyway, hopefully it's a thought that counts, and no one should be, including ourselves, overspending for Christmas, because that's really not what it's about, is it? All right. I'll talk to you guys later. But do let them know how much you care and give them something. Bye. Okay, I'm giving this little addendum here to the Christmas giving to an SSI loved one. We're talking about how to give gifts that will not be counted against their SSI. So you can still do wonderfully loving things for your SSI beneficiary loved one, but you don't want to jeopardize their SSI or have it be a wash. Like they get something from you and SSI is taken away in the same amount. You don't want that, right? So I just wanted to go through, and this can be helpful generally anyway, not necessarily Christmas, but since it is Christmas time, 2023, I thought I'd toss it out here. Because I don't want to leave that one hanging in case people needed more information. So certain income to a person that's gifted to them. And we did talk a little bit about the resources. Now remember, with SSI, the month you receive something, it's income. If you still have it when the month ends and we're in the new month, it's a resource. So you have to look at it in two different ways. So, and I'm going to share this link from the SSA. It gives you a narrative here that I think can be helpful. What income does not count for SSI? So they give examples of payments or services that they do not count as income. So the SSI loved one can receive it from you. and it will not be counted against their SSI. And of course, this is not an all-exclusive list. It's just examples. So there's plenty more where that came from. So, of course, across the board, the first $20 of most income received in a month is not counted. So, you can give $20 to an SSI beneficiary, and it won't count, when he reports it. Of course, if 50 people give him $20, it's going to be a problem, right? So it's only the first 20 received. And, not to put a little damper on it, but that $20 limit, I believe, has been there since before I started practicing, which is, we're breathing down 20 years. So that's so disturbing to me that COLA does not apply to that. But I vented about that elsewhere. Okay. Because if looking at it, that should be quite a bit more now, right? 20 years later. I forget when those numbers have changed. It was definitely before my time. That's how long they've been stuck there. Like inflation does not affect them for some weird reason, right? Okay. So then, of course, the other income that doesn't count, which would not be a gift though, is the first $65 of earnings. And of course, 1/2 of the earnings over $65 received in a month. Again, same vent. That has not increased as long as I've been here. Okay, SNAP, that's food stamps, that doesn't count. Income tax refunds, home energy assistance, assistance based on need funded by a state or local government or Indian tribe. Now keep in mind, some of these are not going to be gifts from you, but I'm just going down the list so you have an idea. Small amounts of income received irregularly or infrequently. Now, I'm not going to take too much of speculation on this, but the theory goes, or the thought process of many, is that that would be the occasional income of cash, once in a blue moon. Maybe that's so that people don't have to be so anal about it and report every $10 receipt, or, They don't describe what small amount is, though. That's what always concerns me. They don't describe that. I mean, for some of us, a small amount would be $100. For some, that would be a lot. What is it to the SSA? I don't know. Interest or dividends earned on countable resources or resources excluded under other federal laws. Grants and scholarships, fellowships, or gifts used for tuition. Food or shelter, not from you though, based on need provided by nonprofit agencies. Loans to the person are not counted as income. And that brings up the point that when you are going to be loaned money, so it's not going to count and it's not a gifted money, it could be a lot, you're going to want to get a loan agreement. So if, grandpa or dad or mom loan you, $5,000 so you can go buy a car, make sure that's in writing. Okay. It has to be a bona fide loan. I mean, no one's going to go beat you over the head if you don't pay it on time, but it has to be a bona fide loan in order for it to not count as gifted income. That would count. That would be countable income. Okay. And this is a biggie. And this is kind of what I alluded to in the Christmas video that hopefully this will be attached to. This might be separate, of course. I'm not sure. Money someone else spends to pay your expenses for items other than food or shelter. For example, someone pays your telephone or medical bills. Woo, woo. I wasn't even clear on the medical bill part. I would be careful with that one. But I suppose if it's medical bills not paid for through Medicaid, then it's not really, it is outstanding. Just hedge that one carefully. But telephone bill, right? Remember we were talking about that? Like, don't give them the money for the telephone bill. Send it right to the cell phone company, And then, I mean, that's a pretty big gift if you think about it. If someone's paying, I mean, I don't even want to talk about what our cell phone bills are here, but if someone has a phone for $50 a month and you pay it for a year, that's $600 that they're not spending from their SSI. That's a really nice gift. That's an idea, huh? Then they talk about the past. That's a plan to achieve self-support. These are some more specific things that are not so much about what you can give him for Christmas, But that big one about money someone else spends to pay your expenses for items other than food, shelter. That's where you can do nice things for Christmas, or any other time of the year. It doesn't have to be Christmas. Christmas should be all year round, right? So keep that in mind. Um, this list goes on with all the other things that wouldn't be what you'd be given for Christmas, but it's really important for an SSI person to know because they might be able to go and get some of these things and it's not going to affect their SSI, right? And we already know food stamps doesn't. That's always been kind of a given. But checking up on these other things can really, for every, SSI is really low. So for every dollar you can get through another uncounted source of income, which is usually through governmental agencies and the like. That would really be helpful because it's not coming in. You're not stretching that $914 in 2023 anyway. It'll go up soon for that bill because it'll be covered. All right, that's enough. Ciao, guys. Merry Christmas. Bye.